if we get caught anywhere, even caught in the heart, oh, I'm just all fluffs and rainbows, it's the both that frees us from being trapped in either. So if you're all negative and it's the end of the fucking world, you will see more signs that it's the end of the world, and that will be your reality. It's in the eye of the beholder. That being said, and the ultimate truth seems to not have an opinion. There's just a peacefulness to ultimate truth. And we can discover that by spending time alone, to remember, to become again a member of the union. Being grateful and being in appreciation are keys to this inner subtle universe that has magic, and the magic of truth. Hello and welcome. It is wonderful Witchy Wednesday, Witchy Wizardy Wednesday. We're off to see the wizard. I don't know where that's coming from. It is wonderful to be here. My name is Markabadi, one word, Markabadi. It is great bringing you luminaries and bringing you wisdom keepers each day, each weekday. And today is no exception. Today we have a good friend of mine, Anistara Markar, who's also Kandice Kaur. She's going to be sharing on messages on awakening and channeling truth from source. Anistara shares inspirational, empowering, and PoWORDful messages from source. This is a poignant time in our human LOVElution, and we're here to grow together, awakening us to we remember who we truly are. Infinite beings, conscious creators, all parts of the one. Anistara is here to help bridge our universal knowing, the now of the knowing, with our human family on the Mothership Earth, the art Earth. Welcome to the foundation frequency rising that will birth our new Earth. Anistara, in her awakening leadership role, she is authoring her second book and hosting weekly common unity calls. Very good. And producing the 11th annual 11/11 Unification Celebration for Unify. Wonderful. You can check out more at unificationcelebration.com. You can find her obviously on Facebook through this link. Holistic hooping is another thing, and there's other links. Anyway, please share this video. The shares are where it's all in, and the caring, that's how we get streams. If you make any comments on the show, I will see them and relay them appropriately. So without further ado, let's go over to Anistara. Hello.
Hi, greetings everyone. Thank you for being here.
Such wonderful hellos to you. Where are you and what's happening in your world?
Oh, well, right now I'm in this present moment here with you, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. Where I reside at this moment is in Northern California. I'm in Freestone, which is about 10 minutes west of Sebastopol in Northern California.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So you've these sort of two personas. You've holistic hooper Kandice, and then you've got Anistara. Tell us about what these. I mean, it's a stage name, but it's your spiritual name. Tell me.
Yes. So my real name is Kandice Kaur, and I've owned holistic hooping for almost 20 years now. And I've traveled around teaching at retreats and opening people to the idea of hooping for mind, body, spirit, health, and well-being. So I've been to many festivals and retreats and places around the world, taught at Kripalu Yoga Center in the Hampshires, and basically really embodied bringing spiritual energy and activating our Kundalini energy through the motion of hoop dance and spiral dance. Okay. So we produced hoops, LED hoops, fire hoops. I've been a part of many circus art performance troupes, and have had the opportunity to perform with really beautiful, beautiful beings. And now that's kind of transitioning. Here we are on 2020, and there aren't any festivals or retreats truly happening where we can gather together in community live. And I'm really stepping into what it is that's the next chapter. And I've been channeling these messages and writing with Anistara and the energy of Anistara for about 15 years now. And now I'm boldly stepping up into this place where I am starting to embody this starry name that has come to me. And it came to me many moons ago. But the last name, Ma and Ka, the feminine and life, came to me when I was at a Shasta writing retreat in Mount Shasta about 3 months ago. So Anistara Maka is a name that I'm fully embracing. And as I come closer to my starry self and these messages that are coming through, then the more I embody it, and the more I actually can become Anistara. So yeah, that's where she comes from.
When you say channeling from her, you refer to her in the third person, which is it's always
So when about 15 years ago, I had a spirit guide reading with a friend from England. He's from Glastonbury, and he came over with a shoot of wheat that was from a crop circle, and we started talking, and he basically shared with us, my partner and I, that he channels who our spirit guides are, who our guardian angels are. And he drew a picture of a woman with dark hair, and it was Andrew's spirit guide. Her name was Anistara. And mine was Erengard, and it was a blonde man. It looked, similar to Andrew. And so that name really sat with us. And forever, since we've been talking about having children, we decided that if we ever had a daughter, we would call her Anistara. And I was pregnant last year, and I actually had a miscarriage. Mm-hmm. And while I was pregnant, she made it very clear to me that she's supposed to be a part of our life. And I asked her, do you need to be a physical being, or are you going to speak with me or through me, or, how is this going to manifest? And she said, whatever you want, Ma. Like, I'm here to tap you in with God, source, creator energy. And we're here to do some great work in the world. So let's just get started, and let's start putting the message out there. Mm-hmm. So that's how she's been birthed.
And now, how's your relation? Do you relate to her as a separate being to you? A bit like, I don't know if you've seen Mark Sims's the Coherence project going on. Obviously, you're connected with Unify. So, and obviously, he had this experience with his other being, Tejva. How do you experience her? Does she come as a separate entity? Is it part of yourself? Is it like an archetypal solidification of another part of your psyche?
That's a very good question. I feel like everyone has an internal voice. Yes. So some of it is negative talk, right? It's like that voice that we need to get over that tells us, fear and failure and all these things. And then there's another side. It's like the devil and the angel, right? And then there's the other side that's like, you're an infinite being and you've got this. And if you just focus on abundance and law of attraction, you'll bring in what you choose to have. So very much in that sense, when I first started writing with her, I essentially would say, Kandice, and I would ask a question, and then I would say Anistara, and she would answer. So it's almost like conversations with God. Right. And as I would close my eyes and understand and start to feel the transmissions coming through, they started coming out of me verbally, not just writing. So right now I'm channeling a book with her, and essentially it's hard to say separate because first of all, I'm a Gemini. So, we've already got these two energies within us, and balancing those energies and masculine and feminine. As I said before, the more that I embody her and kind of Kandice and the hooping and all of that kind of fades away, and the intention and the mission and the purpose that Anistara has in this world, if I embody that name, then I will become Anistara in a sense.
Right.
So yeah, I think that that answers it. And just to be really clear, I'm not associated with Unify specifically. It was 11/11 Unification Celebration for Unity. So I'm hoping to collaborate with Unify. In fact, it's going to be a global event where we're bringing in all kinds of other gatherings that are being hosted virtually or live on 11/11 at 11/11. So this event, I've hosted an 11/11 gathering for the last 10 years. So this will be the 11th annual 11/11. And we've expanded out of our home into retreat centers. And now we want to have multiple gatherings. So a friend wants to host one in Grass Valley and another in San Diego
Right.
and another in Sacramento and San Francisco. And we can bridge these together with live streaming, all doing the 11/11 ritual at once. The intention is to also have multiple places around the world. I'm hoping to be in Bali at the time at Pyramids of Chi, and we'll be tuning in our 11/11 ritual from there. And the intention is to galactivate our planetary grid and really reactivate the sacred sites on the planet,
Right.
to connect us all in unity and to celebrate our unification.
Right.
So that's 11/11 unification.
Just interestingly, whose 11/11 is it?
Everyone's.
So everyone does it at their own 11/11.
Yes, so
I
people
like
can
that. I like that. So it's like
do
a
it.
24-hour. It's a 24-hour thing.
It is. It will initially start at 11:11 a.m. Universal Time and go to 11:11 p.m. Universal Time. So that'll vary where you are depending on your time zone. And essentially, it's to unify us all together. So very much like Earth Dance would do their spiral dance, and then they would televise it at their other Earth dances around the planet. It's a similar concept, except 11/11 has been something that so many people have been touched by. They acknowledge it. Whether they make a wish or they say a prayer or they just take a moment and take a breath. 11/11 is a master number. It is actually known as the angelic frequency. If you look up 11/11 hertz on YouTube or anything like that, you'll find that it's an angelic frequency. So it's for bringing our vibration higher, to raise the frequency, not only of our individual selves, but of our collective selves and the divine matrix and Mother Earth herself. Yeah.
And there's something to doing things together in coherence. And the weird thing is this notion of doing things at everyone's 11/11 is a move away from everyone doing it at the same time. But everyone is doing it at the same time. So it's like, is there a connection to, like, I suppose what I'm saying is this a kind of like a warp tunnel between everyone's time relative to where they are on the Earth? It's somehow like a sort of time stamp.
Yeah, indeed it is. Essentially what you want to feel is, where the time starts, wherever the first sunrise is on the planet. I believe it's a specific island in New Zealand. Right. And they get the first part of sunrise and then it goes all the way around the planet. Yes. So you're sending a ripple of energy and unity energy around the planet and creating that consciousness web together and amplifying it to that 11/11 frequency. Right. I just had full body chills. That's my
nice. Yeah, it's like a spiritual wave.
Exactly. Yeah. Imagine what the Schumann resonance will be like at that day.
And I think that's the interesting bit, is the knock-on effect it has, because if everyone's doing it at the same moment, then it's almost it reminds me of how nature works. You don't fire a light at a molecule to help it separate in mitosis. If you fire it in pulses, the same light frequency, it grows faster and stronger than if you just sent the light directly at it in one stream. So nature seems to work on this pulse wave, this on-off.
Yes.
And so I love that technology. Cool. Tell us some of the messages then from Source that Anistara has helped you interpret. Or maybe, you know, do we like have conversations with her now? Can we call her? Could you embody her? Or is it kind of like a little voice in the back and you just always have to translate as Kandice at the front?
I'm working on the on-demand aspect of it. I did channel some things last night and wrote them. I could share some of those.
Whatever you feel inspired to do.
Okay.
I was just thinking that maybe a mask might help you to pull Anistara out as a character. You know, like you put on some sort of eye mask and it's like, hello, I am Anistara.
It's interesting. When I was performing, we would have some of these painted masks here that I purchased in Bali. And yeah, I'm not really good at wearing masks. I feel like you hide your true essence. And even when I walk to the grocery store now, it's really difficult to like, I'm smiling at you. Do you see that I'm smiling at you? I want to say hi, you know, and you can't see me. Anyhow, yeah, maybe I can just go over just a few things. So on awakening specifically, what is occurring is that we all have these codes within us and they're locked into our DNA, however you want to visualize it. And we are on a specific timeline right now. And as the planet is transforming and people are going through the experiences that they're going through, we're all being called to, you know, in essence, those codes are starting to crack open. And as they crack open, people are having a more understanding of where their gifts lie. Like, what is it that will make them feel fulfilled and live a life on purpose? So we all have a reason for being here. And the awakened ones in this moment are here to remember, yes, because it's a collective experience that we're embodying, yes. So as those codes crack open, we start to notice synchronicities in our lives, like repeating numbers like 1111 or 1234, or you think of somebody and you want to call them and then they suddenly call you. So as this happens, we're guided by our intuition and our inner voice and our inner truth to what are the next actions that we take in our life? Like, what is it that we're here to do? Now that we've all had this opportunity for a great pause, some people may not go back to the job that they disliked. Some people might be writing books. Some people are doing this and hosting shows now. And their messages and their words are coming out and being shared with others. So as I was saying before, repeating numbers, 1111 is a huge one. It is actually a symbol of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. So if you are somebody who sees that often, then you're tapping into that creator consciousness and that source energy.
So what's really going on with these repeat numbers, these synchronicities? Because, you know, I mean, as a psychologist, I remember the studies that show the mind pays attention to things it's looking for and notices those things more. So it's like, you know, if you, for example, believe Trump is the savior, you will look for evidence that supports that and conveniently ignore evidence that shows that he's a narcissistic, patriarchal filth bag. And so your mind will filter the things you see. Is there something else going on outside of the mind, or is it all this from this location that we compress the wave function into reality? Like, is there a reality that's synchronizing things outside of us, or are we just noticing what's already there?
That's a very good question. Creator consciousness is within us. All of us have that ability to create what we want to choose to have in our real all-I-T. Yes, our real reality. So if you take it out of the mind and you just notice that all of us are energy. Energy has no beginning and no end. It just changes. So even when we die, it just changes. Yes. So if we think of the world around us and what we're creating as just energy, numbers hold a certain frequency. They hold a certain energy. And we can dive into the whole rabbit hole of numerology, of which I am not a numerologist, but it is evident that as you notice different numbers or synchronicities, or you follow your intuition and you have this guidance that happens, it's because you're drawn to a certain energy, or your brain, or you're being led to a certain energy. So it's all about choice, right? We're human beings here to experience free will and to learn the greatest lesson that we're here to learn, and that is love. All we need is love. So, and when you think about numbers, they're associated with different things. So some people are really attracted to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 4, 4, or the 5, 5, 5 galactic portal. Like, it's all within that person's phenomenological world. It's all within their perceptions and how they were raised and what they're influenced by and their personality traits and all of these things. So yes, you can consider it a mind concept, but for me, it's an energetic concept. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to. So what happens when, or how do people tune into what they really want rather than the programming that's been given to them? And most people have lived they're living unhappy lives, and they're doing things they don't love, and they don't have the passion and the heartfelt experience of life. And they'll say, because they've had no choice, I have to go and fucking work in this dead end job to pay for my kids, and So how do we start to open up the magic that is the synchronized universe to people?
I think the first thing is to really just tap into yourself. Like, really take time to take a deep breath and develop a practice, whether it's Pilates or yoga, or just sitting and breathing for 10 minutes. There's all kinds of beautiful breath work out there in the world, and Wim Hof and all these things that people can utilize as tools to really tap into their inner guidance system. And then when they're tapped in, what happens is you will move to create an action, and it suddenly won't feel right for you. It will feel like there's resistance or contraction when you breathe, or you hold your jaw tight when you talk about it. And when you become aware of those things, those are the things that it would be best if you don't go there.
Right.
And then you can be guided to where you should go, or not should. And we don't like that word. It's really about when you listen to your heart. Like, this feels good, I'm going to do this. This feels good, I'm going to do this. I'm stuck in a dead end job and I have been feeling trapped there. What can I do to change that? Well, the first step would be to quit and ask the universe for what's next. I had a friend, we went on the wishing bridge. My son calls it the wishing bridge when we go on a family walk. And she stood on the wishing bridge and she said, I need new roommates. I need 3 roommates in the next week. She has an interview with 2 people tomorrow.
Right.
So it's just a matter of calling it in. We are conscious creators of our life. If we sit there and say, I command to receive $10,000 this month, then all the doors for you to receive that will open. And you'll start noticing where that's going to come in from. Or it could just be a surprise and somebody gave you a gift. Like, if you're not open to those things, you will not receive them.
Right. So I suppose if it's doing anything, you might as well, like, there are some people who go, oh, it's all rubbish, it doesn't have any effect. Okay, that's fine. They might think that. But if it does have an effect, having a positive a belief in it, like it's going to happen, that will enable your mind to see the synchronicities that lead in that direction more readily. As we know from psychology, we notice what we believe in. So I suppose the question that came up when you talked about do what feels good is, should we always be doing what feels good?
Yes.
Okay, so then now I've got another question. What about if you've had a disagreement with somebody and there's awkward energy that's between you, and you know that you have to go and have that conversation, but it doesn't feel fucking good. It feels awful and terrible. Do we just avoid that and kind of run away? Run away.
Understood. I get that. The biggest things with conflict between people is having the need to feel right. Like, I need to be right. They're wrong. Their perspective isn't worth or valid for me to even talk with them about. I'm right. And what happens is, physiologically, we have these funny things called hormones, right? And what occurs when we feel right about something, or that we have the upper leg on someone else, is that you get a cascade of endorphins, and then your body becomes almost addicted to them.
Right.
And then you have this need to be right, to be right, to be
And
right.
it feels good.
It feels good.
If it feels good to be right, then I've got to make sure that I'm right every time.
It feels good physiologically, but does it feel good in your heart? No. That's the thing. If we use our heart as our inner guidance system, we get out of the mind and follow our heart. If we follow our heart, or even our gut feelings, a lot of people are guided by their solar plexus energy and the gut feeling and the butterflies in the stomach. If you follow those instead of your logical, like, reconnoitering about what's occurring, then you can really get into that vibration of love. What is going to be compassionate? Shall I speak to this person in a kind way? Shall I find a mediator to have this conversation with this person that I might feel attacked by, or any of these things? There's also certain energies that can be like succubus, like pulling energy from you, and you have to acknowledge when that is occurring. And there are certain people, situations, ways of being that isn't healthy for you and your heart and being in a place of love. And therefore, if you've made every attempt that you can to make peace with these folks, whoever it is, or the situation, you have to learn how to surrender and release. And that means letting go of certain relationships that aren't serving you. If they're holding you back from being who you truly are and shining your light in this world, then it's not a reciprocal relationship that's worth holding on to.
So it's basically listening to the body and tuning into the heart. Where does the mind play in this? Are you just saying disregard all the logic, or is there some sort of dance between the two?
There's a dance between all of it. We're all interconnected. Yes, mind, body, spirit, ethers. I mean, it's all one. But what happens is we're so locked up in the mind, and how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? That essentially the other ones come out of balance. So to look at it from a holistic perspective, we have to bring all of those into balance together. So when your logical mind wants to take over and sometimes give you that negative talk, or whatever it is, then we need to move into our heart. And there's different practices to do this. There's breath work and all kinds of practices you can look up online, like, how can I be more in my heart?
Right.
Yeah. And also knowing that if you are on your path, your divine path, and you're reaching your purpose, when you have those codes crack open and you start to awaken to more things, we're living in a duality matrix. So there's this push-pull that can happen. And some people might feel manic depressive or bipolar, or because we're living in the world of man, woman, black, white, etc. But if we if we surrender to the idea that is all an illusion, that's not actually real, and we are part of the one, we are part of each other. I can reach out, the empty space in my finger is going to touch the empty space on you. We are all connected. Then whatever thought or words or actions that we put out into the world is going to affect others. So if we're going from here and the negative talk, those actions and words and thoughts are not going to be positive and ripple out in what the world needs right now. So yeah.
See, here we reach this weird paradox, and Mark, my cousin watching, will like this. my brother Jim, when I first posed this notion that we're not really here, he now uses that against me. Anytime I tell him to stop doing something that's annoying, or or he goes, "What do you care? You're not really here." Right? He uses it as like weaponizes it.
Yeah, a little inside joke.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned if you're on your path.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. Can you ever not be on your path?
Yeah, the path is laid before you, and it's all your own choice what the next piece is. It's just whether you want your path to be down fear and anger and hatred and separation, or do you want your path to be in compassion and peace and harmony and love.
Okay.
So each action that you take will guide you in either direction, and all of it is okay. All of it is there for you to learn the lessons of what we're here to learn, which is to love, to be loved, to be loving, to be lovable. It's all love.
And you mentioned the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, and that we shouldn't say should. But like there are people who say, it shouldn't have happened that way. Does everything that happens supposed to happen?
Yeah, some of our hardest difficulties and challenges that we go through in life are some of our greatest lessons. They're the gold nugget, that it's not going to be clear when you're going through it. There's going to be a lot of pain and feelings of separation or hatred or shame or guilt, and all of that is there for us to learn more to love. So yeah, I mean, you can say, oh man, I took a wrong turn back there, and you realize it, and then you can turn back and see and be like, oh, well, that's why that happened, because I wouldn't have met my partner, and I wouldn't have bought my house, and I wouldn't have, etc.
Right. So hindsight is 20/20, as they say.
Always is.
Let's just go back a little bit to omens and to noticing synchronicities and stuff.
Okay.
Are there any bad omens?
I would say yes, of course.
So what are the bad omens? Are they individual for people, or like if we see 666 everywhere, are we in trouble? I mean,
again, it depends on the individual and their experience and their phenomenological world that they've created around them. So for some people, 666 is a bad omen. For others, it's actually just a frequency, and the numerology behind it is very different than what we're taught as like the mark of the devil. So it's just a matter of what rabbit hole you want to jump into. And the thing that really occurs for me as a good omen is, does it feel good inside? Like earlier when we were talking about 11/11, I had full body chills, right? The goosebumps all over my body. Have you listened to somebody sing, and she's singing so beautifully, like it's like the voice of an angel, and you just get goosebumps, like your hair stands on end. It's because it's the truth. You're hearing the truth through her voice, and you're witnessing this infinite light being expressing herself in this duality matrix, and you can appreciate it and enjoy it. And when you see other people shining and expressing their truths, however it is, through a painting or poetry or a book that they've written, whatever that expression is, it is still an expression that's coming from source, one, light, love, energy.
All right, I like this. So something occurred to me, and the question is this: because we talked about being right and wrong, and that's usually where conflict comes from, someone wanting to be right and another person being wrong, and for that means you're in separation. You've got identified here separation. The question I want to ask is ultimate truth feminine in nature, as opposed to masculine, where you've got a particular location that your bullseye is at, and everywhere else is wrong except the bullseye? That is a rejectory patriarchism, masculine, is a kind of an energy of rejection. because
Mm.
it's like saying this is the point and this is not.
Mm.
By default of this being the point, everything else is not the point, is not the target.
Mm.
So is truth ultimately feminine?
Mm. That's a very good question. It's both. It's both. When you think about the masculine, logical, critical thinking, linear, time-based, then there's the feminine that's more cyclic and emotional and tuned into the natural state of like sun, moon, times rather than linear time. It's a melting of both. That it's the union of the divine masculine and divine feminine that really is the energy of the collective of one. So as we move from these times of duality and like 3D matrix into more higher frequencies in like fifth dimensional new earth paradigm, we are able to come to peace and balance with the energy inside our body. So I have a feminine body, but I have very masculine tendencies at times. And finding the balance between the two within myself brings me closer to unity consciousness. It brings me closer to feeling interconnected with everyone, because we all have that essence of just being an infinite being. Infinite being is androgynous. And so many of the children that are coming through right now, they're so androgynous. My son he plays with trucks and he loves Legos, but everyone thinks he's a girl. And part of it is he's very beautiful and he has these long eyelashes. But it's because these children are embodying both sides of feminine and masculine. So they're here to teach us and to show the way in that sense, I feel.
Yeah, I mean that unification of opposites seems to be where all the truth really is, and it's slightly maddening. How do people best hold opposites?
That's a very good question. I actually wanted to share a book. It's called The Starborn: A Remembrance for the Awakened Ones. It's by a woman named Solara. And in this book, she explains certain techniques and technologies to merge the feminine and masculine within you. So I I feel like there are other people that could answer that more efficiently than I can at this time.
Well, how do you do it? How do you because clearly you said you've got your feminine side, but you've also got a strong masculine side. I also identify like that. I get my masculine side from my mother and my feminine side from my father. And so I really feel I have this kind of two worldly, two beings inside me. Do you have to take assign time for when your masculine energy is running the show versus when your feminine energy is running the show? Do you see it as a specific switch?
That's a very good question. I feel that because I'm in partnership with my beloved Andrew, that there are times that I kind of take command, and we're going to do this and this, and I talk about the calendar, and we set our weekly schedule, etc. And he's more in the feminine flow of like, oh, well, I just want to get this done because it's right in front of me right here, and the dance between us is what allows us to be in a unified partnership that works well. Again, with holistic hooping for 2 decades now, I've been in somewhat of a masculine role of like entrepreneur, businesswoman, like go-getter, get out there, marketing and sales and building websites. And some of this is considered very masculine tendencies. And yet when I'm actually in the hoop, I am embodying my feminine, cyclic, spiraling energy. So I had to find balance of, okay, I'm going to spend this much time on the computer today. Now I'm going to go outside and I'm going to spend this much time with my feet in the dirt and go walk under the trees or go swimming or hoop or dance or whatever. So yeah, finding balance between the two, even on a daily basis, is really important.
Right. Absolute balance is so
Yeah.
key. So with that in mind, if somebody is more on one side or the other, more feminine or more masculine, and what would serve them is to be more in balance with their opposite. How do they start to do that if being in the opposite makes them feel really uncomfortable? Like, because if they're targeting the things that make them feel comfortable, they feel comfortable where they're at, what's familiar, what they know. And if they're like all in the mind, look, this is really comfortable for me to just be in the mind and just be, it's like we're saying that balance is healthy. And we're also saying go to what you're comfortable in. So then how does that fit with adding new things that you might not be comfortable with?
Okay. Most growth comes from reaching outside of our comfort box.
All right.
Agree. So if you're in your comfort box, you're only going to live this way. This is what I could see. This is all I'm okay with. This is all I'm going to explore. To me, that seems boring.
Right.
You know, it really is about finding your limits, finding your boundaries, having healthy boundaries too, of course. But your sacred no is just as important as your sacred yes.
Right.
You're going to know what's right for you or feels good for you, and vice versa. And even though something might not feel good at first, you can try it. You could always try it once.
Right.
You know, it's like my son and sushi. Just try it. Just try it once, and next year we'll try again. You know, and eventually you might like it, but at least he keeps pushing that limit, that edge, to see and explore what is possible. So for a very masculine man, I would encourage maybe reading a book that was written by a woman, or going to a yoga class that's mostly women, or you know, there obviously each person is going to have their own way of exploring those edges. Yeah,
I suppose the question was like, how do we balance this notion of doing what makes us feel good and also pushing the edges of what we know? And it seems like, you know, the idea is you might actually like that. And I suppose what comes to mind is that you can feel good at any point, like doing anything. Would you agree that there's something in us that is the kind of like ultimate acceptance, the love energy, doesn't care what's actually going on? Does it care? Does the love energy care what's happening outside of you? Or is it just everything's just an exercise to try and take yourself into the love energy in every scenario? Like, does it all need to be sparkles and sweetness and unicorns?
No, it is not all going to be rainbows and unicorns. We live in duality. You know, we really are going to be faced with certain fears or judgments or shame or guilt. And these are all, again, lessons that we have to learn to grow together, to become the people that we're here to be. So I wouldn't be who I am if I hadn't gone through everything that I've gone through. You know, even the hardest, most difficult, most challenging, like never should happen to anybody in this world, breaks my heart to think about it, incidences I went through for a reason. And even though it's difficult to see those reasons when you're in the middle of it and you're swimming and you're just trying to keep your head above water, like the state of the world that we're in right now, where so many people are just swimming and trying to keep their head above water and not drown. And it's all happening for a reason. And if we just keep believing that it happens for a reason, then you can get through it. You can get through anything.
So let's talk about this. When you say happens for a reason, are you saying there's some big plan? There's some old dude with a long beard upstairs, kind of like, you know, it's like, what was that report? There was a film where there was a guy with a plan.
I will say that, again, this is, everybody has their own perspective of what that is and what that means. the way a person grows and becomes who they are is through the lessons that they have learned, right? It's like all that we grow through together. So,
All right, I've got a good one for you then.
Yes.
Does truth have a perspective?
Does truth have a perspective? Truth is truth. Truth is, we all have within us the codes that allows us to be a human on Mothership Earth. And in Christianity, they call it the 10 Commandments, right? Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. You know, jealousy and envy. Jealousy is the thief of joy. If you're jealous about somebody else, or you're outreaching, trying to pull in something that somebody else has, rather than just having gratitude and appreciation for what you already have, you will not be able to feel joy for what you have. So these are all core, like inside our spirit complex. Like we just all know what feels right. We know that I shouldn't go out there and kill someone. We know that, and if you become more awakened, it actually sucks to even kill a fly. You know, you become really sensitive to these universal laws that hold us together in collective accountability, to be responsible, to be responsible, how we respond to our outside stimulus and what is occurring outside of us is our own choice. Ultimately, though, ultimate divine truth is within all of us, and we have access to it all the time. Some people just ignore it. Some people have been so conditioned and so programmed to not listen to the good voice within and only listen to the negative voice.
But again, right, so if does truth have an opinion, your answer first was truth is truth, and I like that answer. And I suppose in that, then, it isn't good or bad, it is just true. Mm-hmm. And is it the case that we have been so programmed to look for the good versus the bad in the duality, that mm-hmm. we miss truth, which is neither mm-hmm. and both?
It is, yeah, it is.
Do you think we miss it because we've not been trained to surrender?
Missing the truth. Well, I believe that my truth is different than your truth, is different than Andrew's truth, is different than Cadence's truth.
Okay.
Right? We all have our own inner truths. And yet there's still the ultimate divine truths that guide us to be ethical, moral human beings on this planet. And some have resisted what that is and have pushed it away in such a way that their logical mind is like, I still want the control and the power and the money and this. So none of not none, but some of these universal truths just don't apply to me, or I'm going to avoid them or ignore them. But truth, yeah, not good or bad or right or wrong. It's simply the truth, and my truth again will differ from yours.
So there's
I don't know. Does that answer it?
No, but, you know, as with everything, ultimate truths are always paradoxical. You know,
yes,
so their answer there was both. You know, it's yes and always, it seems.
Yes and.
It seems like truth is empowering for the individual to be aware of truth, both their own truth and the ultimate truth. Mm-hmm. How can we promote truth discovery in people?
Encouraging more time alone. Some parents really don't have a lot of time alone. My husband and I have created a schedule where once a week I have 24 hours that's mine. I don't have to be a mom. I don't have to be a wife. I can spend it in the RV or in a tent on the land. Or I can be alone. So alone time is really crucial to tapping into your truth.
Right.
And as people awaken to their truth and to the universal truth, the occurrences and things that are happening in our present climate can really start having an impact on you. So self-care is crucial and important. Taking a bath in Epsom salt, lighting a candle and taking a breath, saying a prayer to bless your food, holding gratitude and appreciation for what it is that you do have in your life, and that you are nourished and that you have fresh water to drink. So many people don't have that. And when we hold gratitude and appreciation for what we do have, we invite more of that in. So,
I love that. And alone time, a lot of people don't have any alone time because, even when they're alone, they got their phone, they got their computer, they got the internet. They're not really alone. What is it that's key to being alone that has magical healing, reflective properties?
Well, I would ask that of a monk who's been meditating on a mountain in Tibet for 50 years, right? There's value in connecting to your inner voice and your inner truth, that you don't need the outside influences. You can turn your phone off and walk outside the house, even just for a half an hour. Even if you're living in a rural area or a city, you can still find a park and go put your feet on the grass, right? And connect with Mother Earth. There are so many practices that you can do. Full moon rituals where you can write what it is you're surrendering and releasing and burn it away. You can write what you want to bring into your life and keep it on your body and your person. Some people will bury themselves into the ground, just dig a big hole, get in it, put yourself up. It could be sand at the beach, whatever, and just be rebirthed by Mother Earth. Taking moments of like self-care and even ritualizing it, making it really special like that, allows you to not need the phone or the computer for more and more and more and more time. I found that during this whole time when we're at home, that I found more and more time and more effort or more opportunities to spend time with myself. And the more that happened, the more I started hearing, the more messages coming through, the more Anistara's writing her book, right? So
it's almost like there's a power in the silence, in the quiet.
Indeed, yes.
My first teacher used to say, it's so simple, we miss it. And I can imagine there's so much noise around us, with other people, with things, with distractions. The chatter that we miss the beauty in the moment. Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell us, what about how
all the things.
What are you doing? What are you seeing clients? Do you coach? Do you channeling with Anistara?
Thank you. I appreciate that opportunity to share. Well, I am basically creating the website for 1111 Unification. We have a landing page up right now that's collecting, people's information to say, hey, do you want to be a collaborator? Do you want to be a co-creator? Do you want to be a cohort? Do you want to be a contributor? So we're looking for artists, DJs, musicians, tech people, live streaming people, filming people. We're looking for our dream team. So hop on to unificationcelebration.com and you can find me there. And then I also have an email address there. It's 1111 unificationcelebration.com, or sorry, @gmail.com for the email address.
Yeah.
I also have a YouTube channel and it's just Anistara, ANISTARA 1111. And you can also find me on Facebook just by the name Anistara, ANISTARA. And then also my personal profile, Kandice Kaur, and it's with Kandice with a K, Kaurves, Kaurves -.
All the links are below in the video. Do you see individuals? Are you doing any coaching, any one-on-ones?
Yes. I've taken certain certification courses. I'm an advanced theta healer. I'm a chakra therapist. I'm a life coach. I do sound healing, tuning fork therapy, color, sound, aromatherapy. If we do on body touch and Reiki sessions. So yeah, we can connect and talk about.
And you're doing remote sessions for people during these times, obviously.
I am indeed. Yeah, you can just email me at Anistara@gmail. I'm sorry, Anistara 1111, Anistara 1111 And I'm also writing 3 books at this time, but the one that I'm very excited about and hope to have published by the end of the year is about 1111. So I'm waiting till after the event because the event needs to be included in the book.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom, your light, and Anistara's reflections.
Yeah. Thank you, Markabadi. I really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. So I've
Glad
just
to meet everyone.
thank you. I'll just sum up the show. Hang there. I'll come back to you after.
Okay.
Oh, what a lovely show. So nice to have Anistara and Kandice on. You know, there's so much obvious wisdom. And as with always when we come to truths, to ultimate truths, there is this paradoxical, there are no simple answers. The masculine in us wants the simple answer. It's like, which way do I go? Left or right? Go both. What do you mean both? Ugh. And in the same is the case with truths. Do we have like, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Yeah, you're always on it. You're on your path. Congratulations. Are you enjoying your path? Well, that's up to you. If you're not enjoying it, do something that you enjoy and follow your bliss. Oh, but will that be my path? Yes, it will still be your path. Whatever you do is your path. Congratulations, you've won. You're on purpose. You're on your path. Okay, put that to bed. You're on. Great. Now, are you going to choose to enjoy your path or not enjoy your path? And are you going to choose to push yourself into the new experiences to like expand your zone of proximal growth? You know, we are this magic of the on-off. Remember the cells of the plant life of mitosis happens best when it's pulsed light. That's why music is so powerful, because it's pulsed. It's not one thing, it's on, off, on, off. And in the same way, our joy is that collaboration of the on-off. It's the unity of the on-off, which basically means feel discomfort and bring comfort to it. And then feel discomfort and bring comfort to it. That is the flow. And that is within which the magic happens. If we get caught anywhere, even caught in the heart, oh, I'm just all fluffs and rainbows, you've got to be both. It's the both that frees us from being trapped in either. That's the weird paradox of creation. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. And look out for for synchronicities and things that are occurring in your world. Notice them. And remember the psychology of that. You're going to notice the things that your mindset is in to begin with, and your heart set is in. So if you're all negative and it's the end of the fucking world, you will see more signs that it's the end of the world, and that will be your reality. So, you know, it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it appears is truth and reality. It's in the eye of the beholder. That being said, there is an ultimate truth. And the ultimate truth seems to not have an opinion. It seems to not have a direction. There isn't a good and a bad to ultimate truth. There's just a peacefulness to ultimate truth. And we can discover that by spending time alone. And that means phone, goodbye, you know, phone onto airplane mode. Give yourself an hour every day. What was it? Somebody said the other day, protect your sacred first 90 minutes of the day. I think it was Teresa. Have something where there's a pattern, where you give yourself permission to be alone so that you can start to tune into the ultimate truths that only you can tune into. You can't read this in a fucking book or have it sung to you. However, you can use music. You can use pulsed creation to remember, or to, as Anistara said, remember. To remember, to become again a member of the union.
Indeed.
Remember, it's not a stepping stone. You can't like work. Well, give me a list of the tasks I have to do in order to achieve this oneness. That's like mental. Okay, so what? I just feel it. Well, yeah, but at the same time, you've got to give permission and allow both to occur. And I know it could seem maddening, and maybe that's why it's so magical. It's because when we surrender into the maddeningness and accept it, the peace is there, the joy is there behind everything. And it seems that gratefulness and appreciation, being grateful and being in appreciation, are keys to this inner subtle universe that has magic, and the magic of truth. Wonderful. Wow. Thank you so much to my guest, Anistara. I have a book, Book Evolve. Check it out, bookevolve.com. It's quite a beast. It's a beast of a book, but there's cartoons, so you can, enjoy the cartoons. Where was it? Cartoons. Anyway, bookevolve.com. You can find it all over the place. There's also digital copies online. Thank you. Please share. The share buttons are so important. Like there's people watching now. Just share it to your profile. Share it to any groups that you know. Cool. Markabadi signing off. Be good to yourselves. Remember, there's nothing to remember. Go be alone with yourself. Really alone. That's where the magic is. Signing out.